Okay, thanks for tuning in. This week is a continuation of last week. We've spoken about your basic guidelines on how to buy a property. This week we'll talk about legal issues and what you need to know when owning a property. So with me here again, please help me welcome James Ong. He's the director of Fortis FP Consultancy. Thank you again, James. Okay, we know the basic guidelines last week, so this week is all about legal issues. So if I were to find a house that I'm most interested in and I have the money, I know where to buy it at, and what would be the next step in terms of legal issues?
Okay, Dina, nice to see you again this week. Before anybody goes into legal issue, normally you have to go shopping. So let's say you have found the place that you want to buy. So normally you can buy from two types of, one is from a developer, which is very simple. You go to a developer, you see the property, you like it, then the developer will let you choose the property. That is very straightforward. When you buy from developer, there will be some freebies inside it. You just have to pay a deposit. So normally it's called a booking fee. You pay a booking fee, you sign a form, then you pay the money. Basically, you got a booking. So that's called a booking fee. But let's say you buy a property from a secondary market, means somebody owns the property before. And what you do is you can buy straight from the owner, or you can get through from an agent. So agent will be able to tell you, Lina, this is the thing. If you agree the price, why not you sign an offer to purchase? So when you sign an offer to purchase, basically you have to issue a deposit payment to the agent or the owner. So in general cases, it's around 3%. In general cases. So this is the area where you pay, but you do not actually go in a contract yet, but you have something written that says you have paid a deposit. But of course, after you have paid the deposit, in most general cases, you will come to the next step where you actually have to sign a sales and purchase agreement. You make the contract binding. And so in normal cases, you have to pay up to 10%. So the SPA, what we call, is basically a sales and purchase agreement. So you have paid a booking, you have to pay the difference to make it to 10%. And you've got to do it within 4 working days. So if you have paid the agent at 3%, so very likely within 4 working days, you have to pay the 7%. Then you sign the SPA.
Okay, James, how about appointing a lawyer to take care of your purchase?
Okay. I believe it's very straightforward, but it is general, but you must be aware. When you decided to buy, when you sign an SPA, if you sign from a developer, they will normally say SPA fees are included. That's only the agreement for you to purchase, that's it. But it is recommended you get your own lawyer. A lawyer will be able to represent you. So when a lawyer represents you, it basically takes into account your interest. So if the person that's selling or developer, they have a different lawyer, this is recommended that you get a lawyer. Then this is how it proceeds. Then of course you're going to likely ask how you're going to pay the lawyer. I will tell you very simple. I'll tell you very simple. Under the Legal Professional Act 1976, the lawyer fees, we call it first schedule, there's already some rates. So if you buy a property, let's say a certain amount, the first 150,000 you have to pay 1%. So the lawyers, when you pay them these fees, what they'll do is they will draft the agreement, they go through the agreement, they represent your interest, they go through all the clauses, and they will make sure everything is done until it is completed. This is standardized. Lawyers are regulated in the sense that these fees are scheduled. But of course, after you buy, then depends on from property to property, there are different types of expenses. We call it disbursements. There are different types of stationery to be used, number of phone calls, running around, going to the court, all those dispatch, whatever. That is called disbursement. But more or less, when you ask the lawyer is able to give you a quotation. So when you look at the quotation, you can actually ask the lawyer how much you're going to incur in hiring a lawyer to represent you to actually buy a property. I would like people to actually look at the quote, which is going to be same from lawyers to lawyers. Get a good lawyer, a lawyer that can represent you until you get the transaction fully completed, get the keys to the house. This is what you want, a stress-free process where you actually own the house.
All right, so I've identified my house. Okay, I've got all my papers done, and then I've got my lawyer. So what should I look for before I put that ink on that paper? Before signing the contract or the SPA, what should I look for?
Okay. Everybody is not aware the commitment of buying a property. A lot of people actually don't know. They think buying property, you just pay the 10%, that's it. Actually, it's not. One should always ask oneself, says, when I buy this property, what are the things that I'll be actually adding on? So there's a lot of fees actually. When you buy a property, you sign a SPA, you basically have a lawyer's fees. Then you have to basically make some withdrawal from EPF. You have to make sure a little bit. That's why in my job, we advise people on a more professional manner. You have to look, see what are the expenses you have to do. So when you take a loan agreement, there's also a loan agreement fees, valuation fees. So there's a lot of costs that you have not seen it. So in other words, you have to be very prepared and how you're going to come up with the money.
So won't all these fees be included in your mortgage?
Banks are quite diversified, very competitive nowadays.
Okay.
Traditionally, last time it's very straightforward. Now, no. Banks to banks, you can do your own shopping. Some banks, they will say, okay, valuation fees, I will waive for you. And some banks will say, okay, I'll throw in this for you. I'll make sure I give you a good rate, then I'll give you maybe a renovation loan or personal loan when you actually complete. So banks nowadays are very smart because it's very competitive, which is good for people like you and me because we get the best out of it.
So we have to really, read through the contracts before.
Yeah, the contracts you have to know, and if you ask those right questions, the bank will be able to. It's always important to ask the question: how much is going to be my commitment? How much do I have to pay a month? What are things I have to pay? Ask the bank to list out for you, and the bank is obliged to list down all those information for you. And I think it's good to maybe sometimes shop around. Do not just go to one bank. Go to at least two banks minimum to check what is available. Look at it, how much you're going to be committed to purchase this house.
All right, thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
Again, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for In Realty this time. Remember, on buying a house, always do your homework and shop around for that mortgage or loan. So until next week, see you again on In Realty.